All right, let's try this now. How about them apples? Okay. Um, oh, well, there I am. Okay. Well, I guess I now I know that the monitor. Um, everybody's like checking their phones, checking their computers. It's okay. All right. Now you can hear me. Now I'll start all over again. So welcome. Good evening. I hope everybody's doing well. It is the middle of October. You are rolling into, hopefully, your midterms in your other classes. I know that some classes will have 3 different assignments. Some of them will have midterm final like I do. Some of them will have different units, right? So, some of you are only taking this course, right? And this is the only course that you're taking. So, as you're preparing for your midterm and as you're getting ready for the midterm, I want to again adapt and change and try to be responsive to how we can best learn as a community. Okay, so if you haven't checked out the website recently, if you go to the class section, I have updated that, and that's the one that was in the original link. Because a lot of people I found were going to just that original link and we're not searching around on any other part of the website. They were just going to that original link and saying, I can't see anything else. I'll get to your question. Hold on, Amir. And so if you go to the class website now, you're going to see um, links to assignment details, class resources, basically the same links that you get up top, but I'm just trying to be redundant here. Okay. So I there's nothing new, just new navigation. Okay. Um, the only thing that I have added, I believe, is in the resources section, and I believe that was just one handout. And it's not even a handout that's required. It's just a handout that I created for another project, so I threw it up there today. Um, and very soon, I did see that based upon the questions that have come up in both lives and in office hours, we've been creating a frequently asked questions, and um, that will be posted very soon. I'm going through that and answering questions. Shy is posting questions for me based upon your guys' questions, and I'm going through and providing answers for those. Um, the question came up about the midterm. So I'm going to go to the assignments page here just because I'm going to make sure that everything is working on my end. And if you scroll down to the assignments page, mission one is what it's titled here, the midterm. Um, it's the Turing test, right? This is what we're taking and turning in a video project. And there are 6 different questions. The question has come up, do I only have to answer one question? No, I want you to answer all 6. That's part of the Turing test. Because if you'll notice that the last question is reflexive upon all the other questions. So that is part of the quote unquote logic of this test. And if you want to argue about the test, that's fine. If you want to if you want to argue that it doesn't prove that you're human, that's fine too. You do not have to do it in one video. I have some people who are doing the parts that they feel comfortable posting those in public, and I have other people who are not posting anything in public, right? They don't feel comfortable talking about any of those answers, even explaining why time flies. So individual videos as far as time, um, how long it has to be. I'm really looking for 3 to 5 minutes, honestly, if you're going to answer all of these questions. And some people have gone longer. I've gotten some 10-minute videos, um, just because again, some of the questions people get a little bit more personal. And again, this is why you don't have to post any of it to be public. Okay. If you want to upload it to a Google Drive and then just give me the link to that in the URL submission page, that's fine. Okay. Um, and if you want to do it in one video, go ahead and do it in one video. I was going to, I know, have Shy sit down. I think we had talked about sitting down sometime and asking me these questions, and so maybe, if we have some time tomorrow, maybe she and I can sit down and post that real quick here, so that you'll have my answers to those questions. And then again, there's no right or wrong answer here. I'm just looking for your answers. Okay. And this is why, if you'll notice that the first side quest asked you about how you defined humanity, and the second side quest asks you about Viktor Frankl's definition of humanity and how he defines our search for um, meaning and purpose, and that being central. So yeah, don't worry, Deanna. I'll be posting that, even if it's just me sitting there. But I know that there's a meeting scheduled tomorrow, so hopefully we'll have some time. We can jump in here into Discord if Shy is down, and we can do those questions. If not, I've got some other people who could ask me those questions. And probably tomorrow I can find somebody who'll jump in Discord and yell at me. So um let's see. I'm trying to see the questions as they're coming in the multiple places. All right. Yeah, and you have until the 26th to do all the side quests and the midterm, right? And so that'll be the same way with the final. I will give you suggested dates for the side quests that get you up to the final, but those are just suggested dates. Everything um, needs to be in by that deadline. Some people say I'm having trouble making a video link, so I end up sending you an email for my side quest one. And again, that's, initially that's okay, but you definitely want to figure out how to do that. Figure out how to, and if you have a specific source or a specific site that you would like, how do we upload to Google? How do we upload to this? How do we upload to that? Let me know. Send me an email. Send me a request on the website. There are suggestions, right, on the website. There are lots of ways to get in touch with me. Posting it here right now, I may not see it. So, but if you have a suggestion about, how do we do this? How do we do that? If there's a resource out there, I'm going to make that available to you. I can even here on the YouTube channel create a playlist, because the one thing that I want to impose upon you definitely in this class is, please recognize the folly of vanity and human vanity, and the idea that we individually can invent, like, or when a problem arises, that we must individually invent the solution. Okay. That's not always the case. The solutions sometimes are out there. And as I was in a discussion with a couple people who are helping me out with the foundation, Humanities 101 Foundation, kind of the other arm of this project, um, we talked about that. You don't reinvent the wheel, you invent better axle grease, right? You figure out better rubber, right? You increase the efficiency, you make it better, faster, stronger. And we have that ability if we pay attention, if we focus. I was just reading a story today, and a lot of people that follow on TikTok know that I like to dance. But I was reading a story today from the American Neurological Association that talked about the connection between dance, mood, depression, all of these other things, and how kinesthetic connection makes us happier. Um, those are the kinds of things that, I want you to be aware of, not particularly dancing, but be aware of the fact that we're learning new things about old things all the time. And so things that we may believe have already been solved, maybe they haven't. Okay. Um, so people are asking about let's see, recorded video on yeah, see, a lot of people have talked about, recording a video on Snapchat. And again, your classmates will have a lot of great um suggestions for you. And remember, the Google is your friend, right? So you can Google, I mean, this is literally, I had a student contact me and say, how do I do an unlisted video? And I looked up and I said, oh, well, there's a perfect explanation. I watched a little 2-minute video on it, and I said, "Well, I'm not gonna answer this and create a new video. I'm just going to send this link." So, um, you know, again, I'm not so vain to think that I know better because I am not a digital native like some of you are. I grew up with, floppy disks and stuff. So, let me see here. I'm going to try to keep up with the questions. Try to answer the questions. The second question, midterm. I don't get the question about describing yourself with colors and shapes. Well, think about it creatively, right? Think about it. And I'm going to be posting these questions. There will be an example of this posted on the YouTube channel very soon, because I asked these questions of our first interview guest, um, uh, Fatima Nakata, who is an alum, a congressional candidate for Malawi, a reality TV star, like the whole nine. So I sat down with Nikita or with Miss Nakata, and we are going to be posting that. And I ask her these questions, and her questions are or her answers to some of them are quite amazing. So it's going to be something that I'm asking everyone, even when I sit down with, and I do plan on sitting down and asking these questions to Matt as soon as I can. I know that some of you are familiar with him from the convos, and that's one of the things that I would like to do with him, at least get his 2 cents, and maybe actually do a sit down interview with him because there's some interesting discussions that could be had about some of his activist work. So, um, thank you. Yeah, and well, that's a that's actually a backpack. Um, all right, so let's 5 minutes. Thank you for answering the question. See, this is awesome. This is what a learning community looks like, guys. Um, all right. So, other questions about the midterm. Again, I'll be posting a video answering those questions or about myself tomorrow. I will be also posting the at least that part of the interview. We're going to be kind of rolling out Fatima's interview in bits and pieces, and then releasing the whole video, which will have the post interview questions, which are the fun ones about your favorite curse words and things like that. Um, so we'll be rolling those out. I'm gonna hopefully schedule those up tomorrow. Probably after I get off of here, I'll get on and see which one has the questions and maybe post that so that you'll have an example, at least of another person's answers until you have mine. Uh, Okay, so Judith asks, I know that you said there are no wrong answers, but I was wondering how it's graded. I'm looking for the breadth of your answers, right? So, if you're answering what is your most memorable childhood event and how did it impact you, and you're like that time someone took my candy because it made me mad. You're giving me one sentence answers. Obviously, you're, I want breadth. I want some depth to your answers. Not that I'm asking you to dig deep or tell me deep dark secrets. Okay. But I want you to think about the fact that this test is designed to prove whether you're human or not. So if you want to argue with the question, that's okay. That would be a very human thing to do. I have some students who take some of the questions very literally and others very figuratively, and that's fine as well. But I'm really looking that you explain yourself, not how you explain yourself. And as I mentioned in um explanations and lives and whatnot, that really the purpose of a lot of my grading is going to be um I kind of do an A C E thing, right? That if you just turn in something like a one sentence answer, you're not going to get a passing or you're not going to get a great grade, but you'll get a grade. You don't turn in anything, you get nothing. Um, but if you put forth your best effort, you give it a good shot, and you thoroughly explain yourself, well, then we're definitely in the B range. But if you earnestly and honestly sit down and answer these questions, and I'll be honest with you, just to be 100% honest with you, I have had people try to run these questions through Chat GPT and stuff before and turn them in, and you can tell. You can tell when, um, they have tried to give me a BS answer as well. I mean, I also have taught writing, and I think you know that, but, or some of you know that, but I'm not gonna be grading your vocabulary. I'm not gonna be grading your formality. I'm not gonna be grading towards, the the word choice or, the verbiage or how well or you speak or do not speak. As I said, some people will want to do, and this is something that I'm going to be doing very soon, just so that you have an example. Um, some people will want to kind of take an essay and turn it into a video, right? And so I know Chat GPT for Humanities is crazy, but wonders never cease. I'm actually working on an article right now about the, epidemic of non-diagnosed autism and how there is an increased risk of suicide and depression and all this stuff amongst, autistic adults. I'm going to, Shai and I were just talking about making that article into a video. So I'm gonna post the article, I'm gonna release the article, but also taking that article and turning it into what we have been talking about with you and what we have, collectively been talking about as a community, Humanities 101 community for a while, a kind of interactive academic article. So, some people, as I said, will wanna type things out, maybe put it on, PowerPoint. Some people might wanna just scroll. I mean, again, you're not being graded on the quality of the video, although if you wanna get creative, obviously, you're gonna get credit for that. But some people, I mean, we discussed how even if you type out an essay, have a reader read that essay while you scroll through a screen recording while the essay is being read, that's fine. All right. But we definitely want to make it audio visual, right? Um, this is the 21st century. We're not just reading anymore. So that's why, when I am working on this article, I was working on this article today and I was working on the actual writing. I was also working on, well, what images should I include? Because texts are not just words anymore. They're also images. And when I put in those images, and again, I'm not requiring you guys to think about this stuff, but when I put in those images, how are people on tablet readers going to be able to read that? How are people who are blind going to be able to see that? Things like this. Um, because this is the wonderment of the 21st century, the fact that we don't just have braille and print or someone reading the book to you anymore. We have all these other adaptive methods. And some of you learn much better hearing than reading. Some of you do better reading along while you're hearing. Okay. So I'll be hopefully posting the article, um, at least in written form, hopefully by the end of the week. Probably also in audio format. There'll probably be an audio format posted on the website or maybe here on YouTube. I'll post it in audio format. But then we would like to, our plan is to work it into a graphic, right? Um, and so, or, kind of a graphic interface kind of text. So, um, and again, some of you were talking about how you find it easier to read while you listen. And that's why the course text that I would like you to look at, academic ableism, um, that course text deals in both audio and textual format, right? So that you can read along. I found, for instance, that especially helpful when I was studying Shakespeare in undergrad. I used to, this is before YouTube. So I used to go to the library and get the BBC version on VHS and go back to my dorm room and pop it in and not watch it, but sit there with my Shakespeare book while it played and read through and highlight. So my brain was focused on understanding and making connections, not on reading the text. Okay. Um, questions about, are the quests mandatory? They are not. If you're here, you're participating, you're also on the other social media interaction, interacting. You go on to there's LinkedIn, there's here on YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, okay? All of those places you can interact, okay? You can go in and comment on the Humanities 101 TikTok page, right? You can tons of ways to demonstrate that participation. So, but if you want to just nail it home and make sure you've got all your bases covered, side quests won't hurt. And remember that the method to my madness is that the side quests guide you towards the midterm, guide you towards the final. And I'll be honest, if you go onto TikTok right now and you look at the hashtag Humanities 101 side quest one, or side quest, or even Humanities 101, you're going to find some students who did their side quest together. They went live together, and they said, "Okay, well let's talk about this." That's 110% what I want, right? It's a creative communal way to answer the questions. It's fine. I'm good with group projects on this because you're providing your answers. You're just providing your answers with friends. We'd be doing that in class if we were physically in class. I do that in the office hours. Today I had a lot of friends up in the office hours just because I needed people to talk to. I couldn't just talk to the screen. And the conversation helped me get things done. So sometimes talking things out is a good thing. That's honestly why I've been utilizing this a lot to body double. And that's one of the things that, again, research points out is good stuff. So even if you're sitting in a room quietly with another person, it may be helping you out. Okay. So any other questions that are coming up? Okay. So I the reason why I left the backdrop down tonight, was because I was very taken aback by one of the side quest videos that was posted today, by one of your classmates, who goes online, by Miss B. And unless you follow her and she follows you back, you're not going to see this video. So I did want to make mention of this, right? And yes, you can do the midterm interview style. That would be great. You can have somebody interview you. You can interview yourself. That would be hilarious. Um, but Miss B posted a video, and her answer to what makes us human, and I'm again, I'm not sharing her work with you. I'm just sharing the brilliance of this answer. Was accessorizing, and it's a line from a movie, Steel Magnolias, from the 80s. And it's, what separates us from the animals, our abilities to accessorize. And it's spoken by a very pomp and, genteel woman, who, takes full advantage of all that humanity has to offer. Um, and and as she was doing the video, brilliant delivery, and just talking, but while she was explaining, she was accessorizing. I thought it was hilarious, right? Brilliant. But I thought, there is real brilliance in that answer, because a lot of what does make us human, and a lot of what we will argue makes the world go round, is accessorize, or accessories, started as ways to beautify ourselves. And so I thought about all the things that I keep around me to, again, not that this stuff defines me, but it literally makes me visually and happy when I look at stuff, and like I've got lights going and I've got flashing things going, and it keeps my brain stimulated. Um, and I thought about the brilliance of that answer, though, beyond the accessories that I have and all the toys and accoutrement. It really is brilliant, because when you start thinking about the things that we humans used as money, gold, cowrie shells in parts of Africa, wampum, in parts of the eastern United States amongst indigenous communities. These were all forms of adornment, self-adornment, right? We look at civilization Um, when we start to see art, we look at the cave paintings as proof that we were doing more than just subsistence living. And I thought about the brilliance of the simplicity of that answer, but also the brilliance of that answer in the fact that we as humans have done horrible things to each other in the name of good food, spices, fancy clothes, dyes and textiles, and jewelry, gold, silver, that up until 100 or so years ago had no industrial purpose. I mean, like, if you think about it, gold and diamonds now should not be jewelry. They have industrial purposes. We should go back to cowrie shells and wampum because a cowrie shell, and if you don't know what a cowrie shell is, hold on. Oh, hold on, hold on. That is a cowrie shell. All right. So that's a cowrie shell. And that was used as on the Gold Coast, where most of the world's gold came from in the ancient world, or at least in the Renaissance, in the modern world, the modern ancient world. Um, that was what was used as currency. When you look at the Eastern, indigenous tribes and the idea of wampum and the shells again, which have the same property as gold, they're natural, they're finite. You have to pull them from the earth or the ocean to get them. Um, they don't serve any purpose in microchips or in drill bits. Again, I thought about the brilliance of that because it is true. When you think about all of, I mean, spices, I mean, like entire continents were taken over for tea because people didn't want to drink water. And really, where we've put the cart before the horse now, and we don't even question why. We don't even question why money was used to abstractify labor and all this other stuff. And it really comes down to accessories. It comes down to art, it comes down to jewelry, it comes down to all of that stuff. It blows my mind every time. Which is why when I retire in 10 years, I'm going to go off in the woods in northern Michigan somewhere and make money literally for the rest of my life. Create art just for myself, for other people. I'll bury it in the woods, whatever, but I'm going to make money literally. Um because in 1,000 years when the architects or when the archaeologists are digging up that plot that I'll probably die in northern Michigan, they'll discover the art and that'll be something because that'll be unique. But all that paper that you bury yourself with, they're gonna find bunches of that. So, again, I just that's kind of how my brain goes. Uh, so yeah, and I do. I think that's a good way to retire. Well, no, and no one does like unseasoned chicken, and I'm not doing that unseasoned chicken thing. Again, I lived in sub-Saharan Africa. I've worked and lived. I lived in near Dearborn for 10 years, and I've worked there for 20. I understand the importance of spices, and I understand how my people I mean, seriously, ask my wife. Like, I was like, "You mean there are other spices than salt and pepper?" But I came from Appalachia, people. I mean, we didn't understand anything other than salt and literal salt and pepper. So, you give me some Crisco, some flour, an egg or 2, some salt and pepper, and I can feed a family of 6 Appalachian kids. Um, okay. So, any other questions coming through about the midterm? I want to make sure that I give you time. But that was the really that was the real kind of interesting thing. And I thought about this in light of a lot of the things that are going on in the world today, and how we really do need to constantly remind ourselves what makes us human, because when we ask ourselves that and we start to understand that that's difficult sometimes to answer even for ourselves, then we have to take pause when we start seeing other people saying that we're not that thing, and when we see other people saying that other people are not that thing, and that's, I mean, human. So there's a lot of dehumanization going on, and I think that that's one of the things, and funny enough, a lot of it is for those accessories, for money, for spices, for oil, for power, for what, however you wanna see it, it's kinda all fleeting, right? It's real now, but when it ultimately comes down to it, when you ask people, and again, you go into palliative research and you look at how people at the end of life, and they talk about what they regret, it's never work-related stuff. It's never, "I wish I'd had, more stocks and more rings in my jewelry box." It's time, it's relationships, it's those things that are abstract and we can't put our hands on, right? We can't touch. Those are the things that we really long for. So, I don't know, just getting old man crazy. So, I have all my accessories because even though I like to accessorize myself, um, I have a very busy office too, because my brain looks like this. So I have to make my office look like this so that my brain doesn't. Um, so question, do we need to do all three participation methods for an A plus in participation? Yeah, definitely. Right. I mean, if you want to nail it home, right, go above and beyond. Um, Now, to get an A plus in the class, would you need to? No, right? You get an A in participation, you get an A plus on the midterm, you get an A plus on the final. I'm going to give you an A plus in the class. I'm not a jerk. Um, I know professors who are. I've had professors who are. But honestly, I'm on your side on this. Okay. And I am fascinated and hope that if you take this seriously, I'll learn as much from you as you'll from me. And we all will learn together. Even if your video is private and you only share it with me, um, we're still gonna learn collectively. We're still gonna have those conversations. And thank you, for saying I'm chill. It's a learned practice, and it's something that I have to work on. So, I'm sure that if you talk to some people who've taken my classes in the past, they will tell you, "Oh, what? Him? He's doing what? The guy who used to lock his door 3 minutes after class started and not let anybody in, and that guy didn't accept a late paper, like, at all? That guy?" But, yes, we all learn and we grow, and that was when I was an English professor. I'm no longer an English professor, I'm a humanities professor. I've learned. Okay, so let me see if there's any other questions coming through. You sent your side quest through the website because it wasn't allowing you to do it through my website. What do you mean? It wasn't allowing you to submit? And Malik is asking about the second side quest. Um, so the second side quest, I want you to read that explanation of Viktor Frankl's logotherapy that I have posted on the resources page. And I want you to respond to it. What do you think? Is he right? Is he wrong? If you need to do a little deeper dive, go into to Wikipedia, go into YouTube, look at logotherapy, look at maybe the difference between that and the other schools of thought. There are 3 main schools of thought when it comes to our search for things. Some people say we search for power. This would be people like Adler and Nietzsche. Some people say we search for pleasure. Think Freud. And the third school of Viennese thought is Frankel's logotherapy, that we search for meaning. So, what do you think? Do you think that our purpose in life is to find meaning? I don't agree with Frankel all the time. I used to be a Frankelite. I used to be a hardcore Frankelite. Um, but I find meaning, and I think that we do find purpose and meaning, myself, but I don't think that that's our ultimate purpose. If that doesn't really make sense yet, but I'll explain this. I think that we need meaning in our lives, but I don't think that meaning is our goal. Phew. Okay. Yeah, and you don't have to talk about Freud. We don't talk about Bruno either. But again, just because people's ideas or just because old theories have been tossed out doesn't mean that we don't talk about their impact. Because whether or not Freud is still used in psychology, um, is not the point when he is used in other schools of sociological and cultural thought. And when people talk about Freudian slips and Freudian readings of things, and I even have a poster up there that if you come on TikTok sometime, I'll show you. But it's a pink Freud. It's literally just Sigmund Freud in pink because, you know, Freudian slips about Freud are even funnier. So, and puns. I like puns. All right. So, oh crap, Chelsea's asking like big questions. What do you think is our ultimate purpose? That kind of stuff. Um, I, you know, that's the question for all ages, and maybe I'll answer that when we get closer to the midterm. I've got answers, but I'm not gonna give them to you yet. Uh, maybe when let's see, when's our next lecture is on the 1st of November. Um, so I will probably be waxing poetic then. Yes, turn in the side quest on my website. Some people have been posting it on TikTok, and they just tag me in it, and that's fine too. And I've been making mark of that. Um, but you know, if you just use that submission page, you'll get a response email, and I will keep log of that, and then I'll send everybody's grades after the 26th. Question about showing your face. No, I've answered that before. You do not have to show your face. AP psychology and Freud's psychoanalytic theory. Yeah, and again, psychoanalysis still, you know, runs the show when a lot of people talk about the way in which you apply therapy. And so there's a question about, can you only do the side quests and not participate any other way? No, that's only one of the 3 ways. You have to participate in at least 2 ways. Either live, not live, or the side quests. And so, you know, and I would honestly tell people that if they're coming to the live videos, they also need to go on to the other video. You know, again, these live videos are just question and answer things. Engage with the content on the page. I posted, you know, 1950s and 60s lectures. I'm going to be posting some other things. Like I said, I'm going to be posting the article that I wrote to show you an example of how you do kind of inclusive academic writing, and I'll even be posting my own kind of, you know, movie lecture later this semester. I've been working on that for you too. So we're gonna kind of screen that together and talk about it uh, in when we get into November. So I'm trying to get that worked up for um, that mid-November. What is it? November 15th the lecture on November 15th, but I honestly think it will probably be the December lecture, or even I will post it as soon as I get it done, and we'll just have the lecture to talk about it if people want to talk about it and ask questions. I just was actually interviewed today by a couple people at the newspaper at Wayne State, and they were asking me about the story. And I was saying, "Oh, well, that's interesting that you're asking that because I'm actually working on the whole story to be presented in lecture format and very soon. So you can follow me on YouTube," which he does. Um, okay, so Aziza says she's having problems submitting it. It kept saying that there are issues and try again. Is anybody else having those issues? Because again, the Humanities 101 website, the submission page. Um, and there is a requirement that you have to like prove that you're a human, right? So, uh, yes, right? Well, again, the YouTube videos, there are live videos and then there's the content. So both of those count, right? So you don't have to go to YouTube and to TikTok. I don't require you to go, but you need to participate in at least two ways: synchronously, asynchronously. Participate in these live, discussions. You could even come in after the fact because there will be people who get on tonight, watch this, and ask questions. They'll think it's live. And so you could get on tomorrow, look at the questions that came in after the fact, answer them. You'll get participation points. I do a lot of time I spend in the YouTube analytics, looking at all your comments and watching how you respond and comment back to each other. I try to like as many as I can. I can't always like them. Sometimes they filter through and I don't see them until like 2 days later, things like that, but I'm trying to, why I've asked you about your handles and how you hide out there in social media so that I can give you the credit. And yes, you can totally rewatch the live streams. There's a playlist up, and I think I put them in a featured format today because I've been playing around on the YouTube channel and trying to make it again more accessible for you. There you go. Yes. Yes, Miriam, that counts. You got it. You got it. Okay, if you're on Humanities 101, go to the class link or go to the submissions link. Look up at the top. It says submissions. Click on that and it'll take you to the part um that you can submit. It's like a little form. I was just speaking about you, Anthony. Just saying that I spoke with you today. I'll be posting that a little later. Um okay, so again, you're it's showing you to subscribe to what? Are you okay? So I think you missed it in the beginning of yes, I did say all good things, Anthony. If you go to the class page right now, humanities101.org/class. I changed that this morning. I got up this morning at 4 o'clock in the morning and changed that specific this purpose because some people were only going to that page and not going to any other part of the website, even though that page has links up on the top that say about doc, assignments, resources, submissions, all of that stuff in the navigation link. It's okay. I went on the class page and I put all of those navigations right there. So when you log on to the class page now, it'll say assignments, submissions, resources. So if you check that out, if you go there right now, go to humanities101.org. Don't type in anything else. That'll be the homepage, and you'll have everything. And again, I'm hanging out just to make sure that people, um, that I get that response, and I've had, uh, I remember I am on campus on Tuesdays if people wanna meet in person. Uh-oh, where'd I go? I I can meet in Zoom, and I can call you. I've had phone conversations. I can even send you a link and we can meet in here, even though I don't have to broadcast it. I can host discussions in here if I have to. I'm saying in here, and you're looking around and going, wait, you're in YouTube. I'm not in YouTube. Right now, I'm in StreamYard. You're watching me in YouTube. So in StreamYard, I've got a whole studio that I can, post everywhere. Oh, the light in the background? Yeah, that's the Hypno Cube. It's fascinating, isn't it? I can watch it for hours, and I fall asleep if I watch it too long. It gives me too much serotonin in my brain, and I'll just so, yeah, I've got lots of stimuli, and these lights are usually flashing up above me, but I don't do that, uh, during videos. It's distracting. And yeah, and again, the whole background, again, if you come on TikTok, sometimes I'll walk people through all my toys and shit. So, what are your preferences? What I don't understand that question. What are your preferences? Hours? I'm confused. It's okay. Oh, wait. And again, Ali, I appreciate you saying that. That's what these lives are for, is to answer the questions, give you a chance for feedback, um, all that stuff. Yeah, this bookshelf I think was a side of the road find, and it's been clobbered together. That bookshelf back there, my dad and I built when I was in high school for a 4-H award winning blue ribbon woodworking project. Okay, I found what you said, but what is the way of submitting? If you go to the submission page, there's a form. It has you put your name, your email. It has you put your section number if you're a credit student, and then it has you put your URL. You you submit the video URL. If you're not familiar with all that, watch the videos and then send me an email and I'll explain it. Um, and thank you, Allie. That's a backpack, actually, when I did my dissertation on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And again, those of you who sent it by email, that's okay. This first one, that's okay. We were working out the kinks. Make sure you send the second side quest via the submission link and do the midterm via the submission link. And yes, the connection I know is lagging. I see that there's glitchy. So other questions, other concerns? Yeah, the schedule, again, if you go, the lecture schedule is posted online on the assignments page as well. You'll see me with a top hat and a monocle and a big, 19 or 1890s mustache. That's the schedule. So yeah, and I apologize for the lagginess. I need to move my desk closer to the McDonald's. All right. Any other questions? Any other concerns? And yes, I'll be posting that hopefully very shortly. I will go through and see if the first part of the Fatima interview is ready, and I'll post that. At least you'll see her responses to the questions, and it'll give you a nice little teaser and to see what amazingness is my former student. People ask what time am I on campus on Tuesdays? Mainly from like 10 to 2, but I can work before then or after then. Um, and if you email me, I can tell you where to meet me. Um, and I've got a classroom that I teach 2 classes in. I've got an office too. It's still kind of in flux there on campus. But we can meet in between my class, we can meet before my class, we can meet after my class. No one meets in that classroom, so I can meet you in the classroom in the liberal arts building. So, not a problem. Okay. Again, I see wonderful questions coming through. And yes, you can submit before the due date. But again, as I said, don't expect a response right until after the due date. And I'll be dead honest with you. I'm telling you now. Wait, hold on. Wait, wait, hold on. Okay. All right. Now I will tell you, I will not be in Michigan next weekend. I won't be in Michigan next weekend, so I won't be responding like in real time and giving you your grades, right? Um, like that weekend. I am just as I kind of ask you to do in this class is kind of learn and grow. I am a 45-year-old man, and I'm going to go to my first NFL football game um, with a couple friends of mine down in North Carolina, and it's going to be rather long trip because I'm going to try to see a bunch of people in between here and there, and go see my parents again. So, I gotta go check up on, the sick elderly folk. So I wanna make sure that, I get all that hit, but I wanna let you know, right? So that if you go start submitting stuff on the 26th and you're like, "Hey, I got my submission email, but I still haven't gotten a grade. I got my response that said I turned something in, but why hasn't Hazlet sent me my A yet. Okay. Um, I will get to you. That's what I'm going to be doing that whole week that I get back. So I will be sitting down, let's be honest, probably not on Halloween. I have a 10-year-old daughter. So I'll be sitting down on the first, that day of that lecture, the day after that, and grading those things and getting grades to you. Okay. Um, I'll be honest with you too. I will be sitting in hotel rooms over the weekend. After you turn in your project, that was why I had the project turned in then, because it gives me something to do while I'm sitting in a hotel room. So you may have grades. Who knows? You could have grades on the 26th, but I'm just not promising them. Okay. Because I'll be driving from Michigan to Charlotte, North Carolina. Uh, and yeah, it's going to be like two of the worst teams in NFL. Apparently, that's what they've told me. The Jaguars and the Texans. And I know we're from Detroit. We've always had it rough. So when they say worst team, we're like, um, I don't know when I'm leaving. So but yes, and I will email you your grades when you send that submission link, right? You're going to be sending me your email, your name, your section number. I'm going to verify that's you. I'm going to verify that's that email, everything like that. And then I'm going to respond with your grade. Those people that have access to the college sites, right? Because there are some students that are just auditing this class. I will respond to everyone via email and then probably even posting for the HFC students probably be posting uh, in the self-service. There's a section where I can post interim grades, like kind of midterm grades. So I'm going to try to post those so that you have something on record. So you'll have a midterm grade and a final grade. Texans are 3-3. Okay, that means nothing to me. When they made this plan in the summer, the Texans were nothing. So they were 0-0. I'm just kidding. I'm going with North Carolina people, so I have to be a North Carolina fan. Like, I'm gonna be screaming, "Keep pounding," apparently, because that's what they do. But, I'll try to do some videos and try to make some content again because it's gonna be a learning experience for me, and I believe if I can talk one of my lawyer friends in, I'm going to take him for a learning experience for him and take him to a Ghanaian restaurant because there's a Ghanaian population down there on the East Coast because I've got some friends down there, and I want some fufu. Even though I can't eat a lot of it, I want some of it, and if you've never tried Ghanaian food, go to the Coco Lounge in Farmington Hills. Panthers are 0 and 5. So there you go. So keep pounding. All right. So any other questions, any other concerns? I know I try to keep these to 40, 45 minutes or so, and we've gone a little long tonight, but I was talking like an old man. Ooh. I was just looking at get some yuzu soup tonight, at those restaurants in Charlotte. Again, if you wanna try some good, it's KOKO Lounge in Farmington. It'll say I think it says West African and Caribbean, but they've got some pretty good, I think they have fufu, banku, they've got good jollof rice, fried plantains. I mean, you can't go wrong. Don't put your money on I'm not putting my money on anybody. And yeah, I'll probably go over to TikTok, afterwards. Okay. So going once, going twice. All right. So I will see you. Oh man, I guess I won't see you until after the holiday. So if you do go out and trick or treat, be careful. If you don't, well then whatever. Enjoy nothing day. I'm kidding. Um, but on November 1st, I'll be back for another YouTube broadcast here. We'll be kind of transitioning into the final, which we'll be looking at, or the final half of the semester, which is going to be kind of taking 20th century anthropology and looking at it through food and culture. So we're going to be looking at a lot of pop culture. We might be even watching, talking about TV, movies, that kind of stuff. Okay. Um, so I will see those people who want to be over on YouTube. Next week, again, there will be office hours. So, if you do have questions in the meantime, remember 3 to 4 Mondays and Wednesdays on the YouTube channels, Humanities 101 for sure. Sometimes I will just piggyback that on to one of my other accounts, but you follow the Humanities 101 account, you'll always be able to find me from 3 to 4. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful night. Enjoy Nothing Day, and I will see you all soon. Let's see. Can I do? Yeah. All right, we do that. Well, that wasn't that exciting.